These last 18 months, Democrats have delivered. Let me rephrase that. Over these last 18 months, Democrats have delivered big time.
Big time, I'm on my way, I'm faking it, big time.
Don't laugh. That was the highlight. That was the high point of the speech. And boy, haven't the Democrats delivered big time.
Big time, bigger than his
gas
hat.
prices, big inflation, more than 2 million illegal immigrants crossing the southern border. That's big. And don't forget the dramatic increase in violent crime in Democrat-run cities. No wonder Kamala is proud.
Before we get into this video, make sure you hit like, share my videos, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Also, make sure that your notifications are on and they're set to all. Now, let's get into this. But first, quick commercial break. Central banks are increasing their gold reserves due to increasing global financial concerns. Billionaires like Ray Dalio to giant fund management companies like Goldman Sachs are turning to physical assets like gold. And you know what? That's not surprising. Historically, gold's biggest rally happened after the biggest recession in history. In fact, after the 2007 into 2009 recession, gold prices jumped 50.6%. Now think about what that means. Wealth of entire countries are being protected by gold. Wealth of billionaires are being protected by gold. Everyone who knows, many are using gold to keep their billions safe. And Noble Gold Investments can help you protect your own wealth too with gold. Now, it'll only take you no more than 5 minutes to set up an account. Noble Gold specializes in storing the value of your wealth through gold IRAs. So they're the natural choice. And they're giving away a beautiful 1/10 ounce gold American Eagle coin with every qualifying IRA or 401k this month. Do something different. Call the team now at 877-646-5347 to find out more, or you can simply visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Now, let's get to this video. Oh, here Kamala Harris talking about they delivered big time. That's right, man. So is it bigger than this big old hat? You got to go real big. You know what I mean? You fake it till you make it. See, so I had to bust out my big old fancy hat since the Democrats are talking about how they delivered big time. Basically, they're trying to suggest that they're providing some evidence that they have accomplished some things during this last, 2 years? And we need to find out if they really are living that large, because apparently, according to the lady from Australia, the only things they've delivered on this big time is negative things. Now, they can try to gaslight people and say that, we've made all these major changes and we've delivered and this and that, but it has to show up and it has to manifest itself in real life. You can't just walk around talking about I'm rich like Kev was with that big old fancy hat on. You know what I mean? I might play the part, look the part, but at the end of the day, that's a discounted big old hat, and it's only should be used when you are living big. That's why I had to take it off. I had to take it off because I ain't living big enough to be rocking that big old fancy hat yet. Okay, I'll let you know when I get there. But these Democrats are trying to suggest that they've delivered big time. And one of the things that the lady from Australia brought up that's a sore spot for me is that border being wide open. So you want to talk about something they delivered big time. Let's hear what's going on at this southern border and see if they're proud of their work and how much they've delivered down there. Because Kamala, I think she's the border czar or something like that.
Border crisis update. We talked with elected officials, ranchers, and residents.
The real people.
Who live along the border. We talked to local law enforcement. We talked to Border Patrol agents.
The people to count.
To get a feel for what's happening now. And right now, prior to our arrival, they'd been going through a period of over 1,000 encounters a day in the Yuma sector.
A day?
The Yuma sector is about 127 miles.
That's big.
Long. And in that sector, 1,000 a day is pretty hefty. And these people, when we say encounters, we're talking about people who either surrender or are arrested and they're caught.
Wow.
There's also all across the southern border, literally thousands of people every day who get away.
The getaway.
We're not sure what the number is, but we know that it's a lot.
Whoa,
the number
that's big time.
of encounters total along the southern border in July was about 24 short of 200,000. It was 199,976 in July.
Now I'm wondering if she's talking about that when she refers to that the Democrats have delivered big time. I guess she's talking about how much big time they've delivered on that border. So those are big numbers. And I'd like to see her come out and tout those numbers.
And that's traditionally you see that go down a little bit because of the heat. But you look, this is 17 consecutive months of more than 150,000 apprehensions or encounters.
Wow.
Along our southern border. 17 straight months. The aggregate is, during the Biden administration, just under 5 million total encounters and gotaways.
What's the common factor here? The Biden administration. See, so she's talking about how they've delivered big time. Well, it appears that they're breaking all the wrong records. You know, they're up here breaking illegal immigrants coming across the border records. That's not a good record to get out there and tout, talking about we've delivered big time. So I'm a little concerned about that accusation and that statement that Kamala done said. And first of all, she ain't delivered nothing. Nothing but a whole bunch of giggles, laughs, and gaffs. That's all she's delivered, okay? But when you look at that border and the crisis that's going on down there, and they got the nerve to come out and gaslight the people and say they delivered big time without talking about that border number, I'm concerned. Now, why wouldn't she talk about that? Why wouldn't she be proud about those huge numbers down there? I mean, I thought more was better, right? But they're not proud of their work down there. So therefore, the only people complaining about that or touting that is coming from conservatives, because we see what they're trying to do. We see the problem at the border. And if illegal immigration was so good, you would think the Democrats would be on TV talking about how many illegal immigrants they've let in through our country in the last year and how they've broken records every month. But they're not.
So I'll just tell you real quickly, when we were down there, it was 116 degrees when we were in Yuma, middle of the afternoon. Normally, I wouldn't expect to see anybody. In fact, I told that to my fellow congressmen. I said, we won't see anybody. We'd already been toward the facility, the processing center that is designed for 1,200 that had over 2,300 in it that day on a slow day. But we went, and sure enough, there was a family who did cross and surrendered and immediately claimed asylum. They were from Russia. And that's...
Did I just hear this man say they was from Russia? First of all, 2,300, and yet the facility only holds, I think he said maybe like 1,500 or something. That's a problem in itself, see. But the bigger problem that I just heard in that man's statement right there is the fact that these people are emboldened. They walk right up to Border Patrol and say, here, I'm here to turn myself in for asylum. And he just mentioned these people were from Russia. How did they get from Russia all the way to the United States? Could it be that the word has gone out that America is weak on Border Patrol, and now that the Biden administration is in charge, and he's told those people during his campaign, if I were them, I would flood the border, I'd surge the border. And that's exactly what they did. But not just people coming in from South America, but these people are coming in from all over the globe. So it's not just Latin Americans coming, it's Russians, it's Arabs, it's Asians, it's pretty much everybody, including those Haitians that Maxine Waters said that the Border Patrol was down there whipping on horseback. Now, how did they get there? So wait, all of these people are fleeing because of they need asylum? I mean, the country is persecuting them because of religious beliefs or persecuting them because of political beliefs. If that's the case, our conservatives here in the United States are being persecuted, so we should be flooding down to South America for asylum. All of us conservatives, see. But we have a problem with people coming in from all over the country, and he just mentioned we don't even know how many of them just got away. Don't you think that could be a concern? When people from Russia, people from some of the Arab nations, Asian nations, and I ain't talking about homophobia, xenophobia, and all the other phobias, they blame us people that have a problem with illegal immigration on. See, we're not worried about that. We're worried about keeping the country safe, keeping law and order, having these people come in the right way, not circumventing the process and slapping all of those who got in the line and did it the right way right in their face. That's what we're talking about, making sure folks could come in and be vetted, and we're not allowing a whole bunch of criminals to slide in amongst some of the people who, like Trump said, some of them are good people, but you can't really tell what's in a person's heart. Thus, all of these times when people come in and then they end up doing something that is a result of Democrat policies that allow them to come in the country, you don't hear those Democrats waddling out to that mic talking about how great illegal immigration is and how this dude got dropped off in Florida and killed somebody's father. See, they don't want to talk about that, but she's coming out talking about we've delivered big time on nothing.
And that's what we see. And there's very few people from Mexico, but there's literally over 100 nations have been represented in the illegal aliens who have been apprehended at our southern border in the Yuma sector alone. And the sector that leads the nation in gotaways is the Tucson sector, which is where the drug smuggling and high interest individuals are being smuggled and trafficked. We're still going to have to fix the asylum loopholes and the other policy provisions that act as draw factors for people to come into the United States illegally.
Draw factors, meaning you catch release. You just simply say, okay, you're coming in for asylum. Okay, I guess I'll just trust you. Go ahead, fill this paperwork out. Here's the thing to come back in about 8 years to see if your case has been heard. Now, all of that. You mean Democrats talking about how wonderful illegal immigration is, and they've redefined it to simply be entitled undocumented citizens? Do you think it could be the fact that Biden got up there and said, search the border? Could it be the fact that they all came with t-shirts talking about Biden, we're on our way to America? Could it be the fact that the cartel and the coyotes were confessing how great business was now that Biden was the president? Could it be that? Could it be the fact that they are giving these people incentive by bringing them in, sneaking them into our country, flying them all over the place in the dead of night on 747s, putting them up in hotels, paying for their cell phones, paying for health care, paying for their formula, all of those things? Could it be that as an incentive for them to come here? But see, it doesn't just come with benefits for the Democrat Party in the form of voting, since they want to get these people some type of amnesty or citizenship so they can be voting for Democrats. It don't just come in the form of cheap labor, but it comes in a form of severe violence and other dangers to the people themselves. But do you think the Democrats care about that? No, because they're delivering big time for their own agenda.
And you've seen it. The D.C., New York, and Chicago mayors are in a tizzy. They're all
mad.
upset because Governor Ducey and Governor Abbott of Texas have been sending busfuls of people to those communities.
What they
As the
mad
mayor of
about?
the city of New York, I don't, weigh into immigration issues, border issues. I have to provide services for families that are here, and that's what we're going to do. And that's what our responsibility as a city. I'm proud that this is a right to shelter state, and we're going to continue to do that. This is horrific when you think about what the governor is doing, the governor of Texas, after a month of traveling across the border, placing on the bus with no direction to come here to New York. And New York is a city that has always represented the democratic values and the values of our city, of showing our compassion. And that's what we're doing today.
This is a bunch of bullcrap. I can't believe this dude is talking about that. Talking about this is a shame what he's doing. Why don't you blame your whole party who've been doing this for decades now? Bringing these people in, getting mad at the folks who said this is a problem, making sure they get dropped off in conservative states so you can water down the vote. All of these things that your party has done. They've emboldened the illegal immigration business that's going on. They've encouraged these folks. They've chastised and called everybody xenophobic and racist that has a problem with this. They don't care about the burden that it puts on the taxpayers in border states. They don't care about none of that. In fact, these were the people out there saying illegal immigration is good. It's good. It creates diversity and America was built on it and all of this stuff until it shows up at your doorstep. So instead of pointing the finger at the real problem and the real people who made this happen, you want to get mad at the governors that are sending them to your cities when you all were talking about how great it is. So y'all should be like, give me more. Feed me, see more. But instead, all of a sudden now, these guys are the bad guys, not Biden, not mucus. We have control over the border. And you really don't. It's not them. It's the governors who's giving y'all a taste and a dose of your own medicine. How does that work? Oh, I'm sorry. Hypocrisy. Okay, that's what they're really saying here. Let's see. Oh, well, look at these people. Just show up in New York. There you go. Now he's talking about we embrace all these people. We're going to do what we got to do until it starts becoming a problem like it is in other states where it's flooding, where it's becoming a burden on the taxpayers. When your people start getting mad and say, whoa, wait a minute. I woke up this morning to go to work and there's a whole bunch of illegal immigrants just posted up in my neighborhood, Mayor. And I saw you on TV talking about we're going to continue to be a city that embraces this and this and that until your folks start getting mad. Then watch what happens. Oh, what is this? Speaking of showing up, there's another mayor that's mad? Mayor Funkfoot? You telling me Beetlejuice is mad because they're shipping illegal immigrants to Chicago? Let's see how she handles it.
Southwest suburban Burr Ridge residents surprised by the sudden arrival of 64 migrants last night, bused out from Chicago to a local hotel.
The migrants, part of a larger group from the Lone Star State, bused to Chicago by Texas Governor Greg Abbott earlier this week.
Good.
WGN's Julian Cruz is live with details on that. Hi, Julian.
Hey, Micah, 64 migrants, many of them families with young children, taking up residence at this local hotel for the next several weeks
Yeah,
or
we don't
so.
wanna rip
We
them
are
from the
not
parents
revealing
anyway.
the identity due to safety concerns, but we are told that the group is monitored and supported on site by a team of state social workers and staff, but their unannounced arrival last night causing a stir here in Burr Ridge.
Wait a minute, unannounced, kind of like how they just showed up in the dead of night on that tarmac and that police officer rolled up on the scene and said, "What are you guys doing here?" "Oh, you know what we doing here, man. Come on, man." No, I don't know what you're doing here. I mean, there's rumors about you guys shooting people all over the country on these planes and stuff, but wow, I didn't get no note saying y'all was showing up. What are you doing here? Come on, man. You know what we doing here. Really? Yeah. Tell me, man, I can't do that. See, because if the American people found out, they'd know that our government have betrayed them. So all of a sudden, they're showing up in these folks' cities. And they got a problem with it all of a sudden. Mayor Lightfoot has a problem with them showing up in Chicago. And the crazy part is she don't care about them showing up in Texas, Arizona, and all these other border states. Do she? But let's see how she handled it with pure 100% uncut hypocrisy. Right off the hypocrite tree.
I will tell you I'm still upset that I still don't know who's making the decisions here.
Burr Ridge Mayor Gary Grasso says somebody should have given him the heads up.
When there's a lack of information, people sometimes jump to conclusions.
Unfounded fears over the migrants' health status spreading quickly last night with the unexpected arrival of these refugees, many of them Venezuelan, they tell me off camera, surviving a 2-month journey through rainforest and desert to reach the U.S. border.
Wait a minute, I don't understand. What do you mean? They survive rainforest, desert, all of that stuff to reach the U.S. border. Because if they're coming for asylum, shouldn't they have stopped somewhere else first? How did they get through all of that to get to our border? What incentive could make one say, I'm going to risk my life and my kid's life to go through the rainforest, I'm going to go through the desert, I'm going to drop $6,000. Normally, you don't have to pay to get asylum. Normally, you just have to simply leave your country based on a credible threat of being persecuted for your political beliefs or your religious beliefs, and you go to the next border country and ask for asylum. But for some particular reason, and I don't know what incentive these people have to say, nah, this one's okay with me, let's keep going. I don't want to stop here in Mexico. I don't want to stop in this country. I want to go all the way to the U.S. border. And I wonder why. Who is calling them to the border and saying, you know what, if you make the journey, I know it might be dangerous, but if you get here, it's 100% worth it. Do you think they would come all that way, spend that money, risk their life, and wonder if they're going to get there and get rejected and it would be for naught? No wonder all of those numbers dropped under Trump, because they knew when they got there, they were going to get sent right back. So they didn't want to waste their money. They want to risk their life going through all of those countries to get to our border. But for some reason, the deciding factor of these high numbers that are big time now, when Biden got in, everybody said, let's roll. Now, that's amazing to me, y'all.
Grasso's staff scrambling to learn more about the new arrivals who were granted legal refugee status by immigration officials. They underwent health screenings at the border, and upon arrival in Chicago, most of the refugees, families with young children, and they could spend up to 30 days at their Burr Ridge hotel before they find work and a place to live.
Wow, maybe I should then come across the border so I can get some free hotel stay and also go on a nice trip to whatever city I want. You know, I go down there and just come across.
Hola.
Hey, how you doing? What's your name?
Jose.
Jose, are you sure?
Sí. Jose Rodriguez Fernando Felipe Pepe Gonzalez.
Okay now, you sure? You kind of look like that black conservative one on YouTube named Kevin from Kevin's Corner.
No que prende, no, I don't know him. Listen, when do I get my cell phone and my health insurance, and I want to go to community college like Joe Biden said, and I was thinking maybe you could fly me to first California, then I want to go to Florida to see my mommy and my papi, then I want you to see if you could fly me to Arizona, and then back to Youngstown, Ohio, okay? See, when do I get to leave?
Maybe I should do that, since they're handing out all these wonderful perks for becoming an illegal immigrant across our border. There's an incentive, isn't it?
My frustration comes from the actions of the governor of Texas.
Why?
Earlier this week, Mayor Lightfoot complaining about the controversial actions of Texas Governor Greg Abbott,
They do it to him all the
busing
time.
border migrants to cities like Chicago.
What?
There could be a level of coordination and cooperation.
Coordination.
Lightfoot blasting Abbott for the lack of communication,
Yeah.
but ironically, it's Chicago's mayor now being criticized for her failure to notify, in this case, Burr Ridge.
In a smaller way, I'm in the same position that she was put in.
Now, we reached out to Mayor Lightfoot's office for comments. She is in Washington, D.C. today. Burr Oaks Mayor not pleased that the state of Illinois failed to notify him as well. We'll hear from the governor's office coming up in the 6 o'clock hour.
Probably not. It's going to be crickets because, see, she can't justify why she's passing the burden on to somebody else. Just like the Democrats been doing for all this time and calling everybody else bigots and racists and stuff because they got a problem with this. So now that it's showing up at their doorstep, like all Democrat politicians, the hypocrisy starts to ooze out. So when they brought all those illegal immigrants out there to Nancy Pelosi's house and they parked them on her grass because they just there for a better life and stuff. And she was like, get those people off my lawn. Yeah. They jumped over her nice big old gate and stuff because I thought that was racist. I thought those were racist. But they jumped right over that for a better life and set up shop right on her lawn. And what did she do? She didn't say, come on in and enjoy yourself and have some of my tasty ice cream out of my expensive Frigidaire. She didn't do that. She said, get on out of here now. Okay. I thought them gates was racist. I thought the legal immigrants, they contributed to the betterment of our lives and stuff, but not nasties. And now you have the mayor in Washington, D.C. declaring a national emergency. Can you believe these people?
Hypocrisy.
So it's been said, but it's worth reiterating that the governors of Texas and Arizona have created this crisis.
How did we create
this? And the federal government has not stepped up to assist the District of Columbia. So we, along with our regional partners, will do what we've always done. We'll rise to the occasion.
Can you believe this lady right here got the nerve to blame them, saying they created this border crisis? You know what? The self-awareness, or should I say the lack of self-awareness from Democrat politicians and the level of hypocrisy is unbelievable. She said she's not getting help from the federal government. It's the federal government, the one that's in control right now, the current administration, who created the crisis. But you're blaming it on Abbott and the other border state governors. This right here is straight delusion. But see, it's the sad part about this is the people in their cities, because they're not aware of the corruption and how long these people been doing this and why they're doing it and how they've been lying to them about the whole purpose of it and blaming these border states for being simply racist and wanting to keep America white and all of that stuff. And they're talking about, you know what, the replacement theory. Since they've been pumping that into the heads of all of their people don't realize that no, all these governors are doing is giving us a taste of our own medicine and exposing our hypocrisy. That's all they're doing. But here she is blaming them and saying they created the crisis. They don't have the power to shut down the border like Biden does. Where's that border czar? Where is mucus? These are the people that allows this to happen. But she said, no.
We've learned from border towns like El Paso and Brownsville.
Okay.
And in many ways, the governors of Texas and Arizona have turned us into a border town. We don't know how long this will take to resolve. We don't know how long they will continue busing. And so the right thing to do here is to be prepared to ensure we can greet every bus. We can get people off on the right foot. We can get them where they want to go. And that will ultimately help them in their immigration process.
What this lady's suggesting is what? They just captured these people and sent them there? You're telling me they've been kidnapped and just sent where they didn't want to go? I'm sure it's more to that, okay? I don't think that even though they might be illegal immigrants, that's something that we can do. Just round them up. If anything, they would send them back across the border. But instead, they're sending them other places. And I think this man right here is going to give a little more in-depth understanding of what they're really doing here. Because that lady just tried to pretend that these people are being kidnapped and bust across and dropped off in states and cities that they didn't want to go to.
Now, the reality is those communities are already receiving people because in Yuma, for instance, almost 90% of everybody that they apprehend gets released into the United States. There's really only about 10-11% that get sent home. And so there's no need for them to have just a major fit about it, especially in light of the fact that we can't bus anybody that doesn't want to go to those places. When they say that they want to go to Chicago and they fill a bus up, they send them to Chicago. If they say they want to go to D.C., they go to D.C.
There you
Same
go.
with New York.
Well, she made it, and the rest of them were making it seem like, now, wait a minute, man. Y'all taking these people against their will and putting them in states that they don't even want to go to. They just showing up looking around like, I just came here. I don't know where I'm at. I wanted to go to Florida, but I'm staying. No, these people are going where they want to go. They're actually helping you guys out in these liberal cities and states who love illegal immigrants. So therefore, they're saying, don't worry about it, man. Look, no need to put them on the 747. No need to do all of that. Tell you what, we're going to help y'all out. How many of y'all want to go to Washington, D.C.? Raise your hand. Get on that bus. New York, everybody over there. Make another line over there for Chicago. That's what they're doing. But these mayors and governors are getting mad about this and blaming the governors instead of blaming Biden and mucus.
I will just comment recently. The White House press secretary, Karen Jean-Pierre, basically said that it's not true that people simply walk across the border. And my jaw fell to the ground when I saw that. I wrote her a letter saying, come on down to the border. I will show you, because I can show you place after place along our 2,000 plus mile border from San Diego to McAllen, where people literally just walk across the border. Or in Rio Grande, they literally just get in a raft and swim across the border. And we actually, in those places, we have signs saying Border Patrol this way. And so people will come in and they'll see the sign, they'll go over there.
If that doesn't really highlight what's going on and who is responsible for this influctuation of illegal immigrants coming across our border, I don't know what will. Because we have seen with our own eyeballs, people just walking across. I mean, if there's no incentive, and if our current administration have not encouraged these people to do that, why would they be coming straight up to Border Patrol and just saying, here I am? Remember back in the good old days when the cops would actually have to catch the robbers? They would have to go after him and get him. Now the robbers just come right up. All right, here I am. I'm ready to turn myself in. Oh, I'm glad you're here. So what we're going to do is put you in a cell for 30 seconds. Then we're going to let you back out on the streets. Okay, that's what we're going to do. That is incentive. So this is the method that the Biden administration has adopted, and they're calling it humanitarian measures. And this is what we're doing. And they all want asylum. All those millions and millions of people want asylum? Are you kidding me? Is anybody familiar with the war that's going on down in any of these South American countries that we're not aware of? Does anybody hear on the news how people are being killed because of their religious beliefs or their political beliefs down in South America? I know where they were getting killed at, over in Cuba, where it's communism. Those Cubans wanted to come to the United States, but the Democrats wanted us to really have strict asylum rules when it came down to them, because they wouldn't come in this country and vote for the Democrat Party because they sense and detect the force of communism within the Democrat Party. The force is strong within them. Or should I say, the dark side is strong within the Democrat Party. And those wouldn't be these immigrants that would come here and be voting for the Democrat Party. So they said, no. Y'all come the right way. Okay, the right way. Unlike all these people from South America. But here's the kicker. Because you know illegal immigration is one of my pet peeves. It burns me up. The president is supposed to be protecting our country from invasions or people just coming into the country. You don't have a country if you don't have a border. If people could just come and go, we see then Russians, Arabs, Asians, you name it, just coming into our country, because you can't really discriminate. If you're letting all of these Latinos come in, then you get a Russian that show up and says that. You get an Asian that show up and says that. You get a Muslim that shows up and says that. What are you going to do? Say, well, because you're Russian, you can't come in, but these 200 or 300 Latinos can come in. Because you're Asian, because you are Arab, we might think you're a terrorist and all this. No, they're all slipping in. That means the president is not doing his job. That means that that man shouldn't be president. Him and his whole administration should be gone, period. Because after you hear what I'm about to let you hear, I wonder to myself, who's the real criminals here? Is it the cartel or is it the current administration?
Human trafficking, just so we're all clear, includes sex trafficking, of course, but also includes labor trafficking. Is that right?
That's right, Senator.
So when we're talking about labor trafficking, we're also talking about kidnapping and human smuggling across the southern border. Is that right?
All of it.
Cases of forced labor can certainly involve those types of activities.
So the New York Times reported just a month or two ago this fact, and I'm going to quote now from the Times. Migrant smuggling on the U.S. southern border has evolved over the past 10 years.
Into what?
From a scattered network of freelance coyotes into a multi-billion-dollar, that's a billion with a B, multi-billion-dollar international business controlled by organized crime, including some of Mexico's most violent drug cartels. And then the Times goes on to report about the cartels kidnapping children so that illegal immigrants can try to pose as asylum-seeking families. We've heard reports about women being abducted and raped as part of illegal immigration rings. We hear about cartels kidnapping and torturing other people, holding them for ransom until their relatives in the U.S. pay to have them released, and then illegally smuggling them into the United States. I'm sure you're familiar with this. I mean, this is the work that you do. All of this is human trafficking. All of it is tragic, and all of it is increasing. So here's what I'm coming around to. I'm just curious about your work with the Attorney General.
Me too.
Are you advising him to crack down on human trafficking at the border? Are you advising him to enforce our immigration laws at the border to stop this terror that is occurring with women and children in particular, but frankly, involving all people, labor trafficking, sex trafficking? Are you advising him to this on this topic and to this end?
And that is a wonderful question, see, because that's the question I have. And the reason I asked the question of who is the real criminals here is because when you heard what this man just said, the illegal immigration business is a multi-billion-dollar business for the cartel. Therefore, just that fact alone lets you know that these people are not coming for asylum. These people are coming because of a transaction. You don't pay. You don't have to pay for asylum. You don't have to say, you know what? I'm going to the next country because of political persecution, and I'm going to go ahead and pay the coyotes to take me there. You simply go to the next country and say, hey, I'm a political refugee because of whatever persecution over my religion. But when you start seeing a corrupt group of people profiting off of this, and they have a very well-structured system now. They got colors, they got a process, a system. It's organized crime assisted by us allowing it to take place by calling it asylum. When you know it's nothing more than a method for these corrupt organizations to profit off of. Or if they wouldn't profit off of it, they wouldn't even do it. If it was real asylum, do you think that these people would have built it into $1 billion corporation? It's our responsibility to stop all of that. If you know that these folks are kidnapping kids for the business, you know that they are raping these women for the business. If you know that they are charging these people $6,000 a pop for the business, if you know that they're kidnapping these people for that business, you are assisting them in that and allowing them to grow to be $1 billion industry per year using the illegal immigration process to get them here, because you guys have downplayed it. You guys have redefined it. You guys have called it asylum seekers. You guys have caught and released them. You guys are telling the cartel, keep them coming. We're not really trying to stop your business. We're not trying to stop you from trafficking these kids, raping these women, kidnapping folks, charging these people $6,000 a pop. My question would be to this organization or this current administration, why then would the cartel be charging them all of this money to come here for asylum? What would be in it for the cartel? What would be in it for these people? Do you think I would pay $6,000 to a corrupt organization that might leave my kid in the desert, may go ahead and kidnap me if I run short and can't pay it, may go after my family, when all I really want is to escape a government that is persecuting me for my religious or my political beliefs? You think I would do that? Or would I just simply say, long as I can get away from the immediate threat and danger, I'm going right to Mexico? But no, they for some reason say, let me give you 6 G's to keep me going all the way through Mexico to the US border. Why would they do that? So if you know organized crime is being used to profit off of this system and you're not doing anything to stop that, you are assisting them. You're in bed with them. You are aiding a corrupt entity to prosper and to profit, all because you got your own corrupt motives and you ain't bold enough to tell us we want immigrants to come here so it can dilute the votes of our own citizens and have cheap labor, and we can't tell our citizens that that's the reason. So we're going to package it up with some bootleg identity politics narrative of humanitarianism, and these people want asylum, and America was built on immigration and the Statue of Liberty, bring all your hurt and your all of that garbage. You guys are in bed with them, and you're just as guilty as these corrupt cartel people who are profiting billions of dollars off of it, because so are these Democrats and whoever else is assisting them in this garbage. Now, let's see what this lady here got to say about this real question that Holly just asked.
Senator Hawley, as a member of the Attorney General's Advisory Committee, I can speak to the fact that I'm on that and that we do, when asked, provide input of the United States Attorney's community positions on issues.
Has he asked about this issue? Has he asked about, given your expertise in trafficking, has he asked about how to stop the crisis of labor trafficking and sex trafficking at our southern border?
Well, certainly violent crime is a very high priority for the Department of Justice, and one that is frequently discussed.
But does he have a plan to stop the trafficking at the border? Are you involved in that? Have you been involved in any work to develop a plan to stop the sexual exploitation of women and children, to stop the exploitation of migrant workers into this country, to stop the exploitation of these vulnerable populations by cartels and organized crime? Have you been involved in developing a plan to stop that?
See, now, Josh, when you put it like that, it doesn't sound so humanitarian, does it? It doesn't sound like, you know what, that we're just here to help these people become trafficked. We're here to help these people spend all of their money to come to our country and risk their life and possibly die on the journey because of humanitarian issues. We're here to assist these kids of being kidnapped because we're so thirsty to get illegal immigrants over here for our own selfish motives. We don't care about that. We don't care about them being kidnapped, raped, trafficked, kids being snatched, all so that the cartel could profit. If the cartel has come up with a process and a method of making money by kidnapping kids based on a rule that you all put in place, Democrats. The rule that says if you come with a kid, we can't deny you. We can't separate you from your family. Both of y'all go in. Because y'all put that garbage in place. Guess what the cartel did? Thanks, Democrats. You're giving us the format. You're giving us the playbook of how to get these people over here. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and start snatching little kids up and sending them with some of these people so that this way they can just go right on in. Thanks for helping us out. These guys that are currently running our country, they're the ones that put all of these open loopholes in there that the cartel has exploited and made billions of dollars off of it, and they're not doing anything to stop it. Interesting, huh? And let's hear what this lady has to say about all of that carnage that Holly just said in the process of trying to stop it. Something, man. Do y'all even talk about it?
DOJ?
And Senator, the reason I just want to be careful that I'm speaking to what I can talk about publicly, but of course I can't speak to deliberative or work product.
We're doing stuff behind
But what I
closed
can say
doors.
is that I have not been asked to weigh in on the specific issue that you have asked. However,
and that's a shame. And you know what? The sad part about that is we already know what they're doing. Nothing. Because this is broken by design. See, this right here is very obvious. This lady, she should have just said, you know what, we're not doing anything. See, it's obvious that they're not doing anything because of the proof, the results, the influctuation of illegal immigrants. If you ever want to know if they have control over the border and all of that stuff that they've been gaslighting us on, all you got to do is say, well, what's the results? Why are more people coming than they were under Trump? And yet y'all saying it's the last administration that broke the system. So you're telling me that broken system was working and you guys came in and trying to fix it by messing it all up, and all of a sudden you're big time when it comes down to illegal immigration numbers going up. That's the only thing you're doing. And you kicking the can down the road. You're misplacing the blame. You're saying y'all got to redo the asylum laws and legislators got to do this and it ain't our fault and it's Trump's fault and all of this, when you know that you guys are doing nothing to fix this problem. Instead, you're encouraging this problem. You're incentivizing this problem. You're kicking this problem down the road, and you're acting like we're doing stuff, hoping that before Republicans get back in control, you can gather and bring in as many as you can. And at some point, when it's enough, you're going to say, okay, good. Now, how are we going to get all these people out the country? Now we got to go ahead and give them all citizenship and asylum, as long as they're going to be voting for us. That's what we want to do. In closing, I always say, illegal immigration, to me, when I see our leaders doing this to our country, I think it is a violation of their oath. I think they betrayed our country. I think they should pay a severe price. I think there should be impeachment and some type of trial to show that these people are negligent. They are willfully and purposefully allowing this stuff to happen. They're encouraging it. They're incentivizing it. They're trying to benefit and profit off of this along with the cartel. And they're doing it at the expense of the rest of American citizens that can see this garbage. Actually, they're doing it at the expense of all the American citizens, whether they know it or not. But nonetheless, these people are doing this, and they're corrupt and they're hypocrites. And if you wonder how to expose their hypocrisy, we saw it earlier. Start sending these people to their cities and see what happens. If you want to expose their hypocrisy, all you got to do is just ask yourself, all of you bleeding heart liberals that think the Democrat Party is doing this because they just love immigrants and they want them to come here for a better life. Ask yourself that if the Republican Party start going down to the border and registering all of these illegal immigrants to come across the border as future Republicans, what do you think the Democrat Party would do? How quick do you think they would tighten up illegal immigration? How quick do you think they would start sending these people back to the country? How quick do you think they would build that wall? How quick do you think they would reconstruct those immigration laws and make them super duper tight? They would do it overnight. As I always say, Nasty Pelosi and those monkey paws would go down there and start building that wall brick by brick. That's what she would do. Now, God bless y'all. God bless America. It burns me up, man, to see what they're doing to our country. Unbelievable. So now they got to eat those green apples. Send more. Send more. I applaud thee, governors of border states. There should be more like Abbott. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. God bless you. God bless America. Don't forget to hit that like button. Share my videos. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those good things. And please check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like their products, please click on the link below this video. Put Kevin in a promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. If you'd like to donate to Kevin's Corner, feel free. The links are below this video. If you want to be a part of my $2 a month club, also feel free to do that. All it entails is you simply dropping $2 a month into one of those links below the video. Or if you want, you can drop a nice big fat lump sum in there to offset the stuff that we know goes on with big tech. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Make sure that you are still subscribed. And finally, set your notification button to all, because YouTube is playing games, y'all. Now, God bless you. God bless America. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner.